So what's the problem? What is stereotype threat?
The problem is these high-achieving minority students having to carry a lot of pressure on their backs. The pressure that stems from their identities being targeted by stereotypes.
Stereotype that refers to the risk of confirming negative stereotype about an individual's racial, ethnic, gender, or cultural group.
This can create underperformance in these high achieving minority groups because they are hyper aware of the stereotypes placed upon their group. But what can be done about this?
Claude Steele, author of Whistling Vivaldi, brings up the issue of stereotype threat and its effects on people with an emphasis on high-achieving minority students.
The purpose of Steele's book is to bring awareness to stereotype threats and its effects on high-achieving minority students to those making important policy decisions in education. You, the administrators.
There are several experiments completed in the book, including one performed between two groups of Princeton students. Because African Americans have been historically categorized as unintelligent, members of this group subconsciously know others think this about them. In the book, there was an experiment between black and white students on their sports strategic intelligence to make these groups hyper-aware of the stereotypes they have placed upon their group.
It is stated they told new groups of black and white Princeton students that the golf test they were about to begin was a measure of sports strategic intelligence. This simple change of phase had a powerful effect. It now put black students at risk of confirming or being seen to confirm the ancient and very bad stereotype of blacks as less intelligent. The results were dramatic.
After being told this by those orchestrating the experiment, the black students performed significantly worse than their white counterparts. These high-achieving athletes were affected simply because they were told that this experiment tested their intelligence, something this group is adversely affected by.
Next, Steele brings up the topic about scholastic ability in general. He talks about how the tasks don't have to be tests, and it doesn't have to be about athletic ability, but about academic ability in general. The stereotype then experienced is about the contingency of identity, and this can be enough to interfere with academic success.
This refers to his point of identity contingencies and their long-term effect on performance. Identity contingency refers to a situation when someone is affected by their identity, specifically in which it is made very prevalent because of the situation they're in. These contingencies impair a person's scholastic ability because they become too concerned with trying to differentiate themselves from the stereotype that they underperform or are negatively affected by the stereotype regardless. And it could also continues to affect people into adulthood and their careers.
Not only are young children affected by this, but adults are affected for a lifetime as well. It is a never-ending cycle, and the only way to improve it is to stop it now in a variety of sectors. This segues into the administrators and what they could do to help these high-achieving students.
Steele found that stereotype threat can be lessened with the implementations of various techniques in the classroom. He states, these studies show that affirmations, incremental mindsets, and the like can steer ability stereotype students in K-12 into self-narratives that deflate the threatening meaning of environmental cues. This shows that teachers and administrators can help significantly reduce these effects on high-achieving students.
Cons to this possible solution include teachers having to direct their attention away from teaching and more to focusing on this during class time, which disadvantages the students as it takes away from their learning time, and disadvantages the teacher as they have to divert their attention to this.
However, the pros to the solution are that it can stop the threat of stereotypes almost immediately because these students are now having this positive influence, which then stops them from being susceptible.
Another quote also offers a solution. At this point, then accumulating research shows that reducing identity threat or its impact in integrated K-12 schools improves the academic performance of ability stereotype students, as it did for ability stereotype students at the college level. The benefits are sizable, reliable, and often long-lasting. And the interventions themselves are low cost and relatively easy to do.
This solution is cost-free, which makes it a relatively simple and easy thing for administrators to start having their teachers implement in their classes. And the pros include improving test scores, which increases funding for each district and individual schools.
Steele knows that his solutions are not irrefutable. He talks about how no single strategy has evolved to help everyone, but many strategies can help the majority. These strategies include establishing trust through supportive relationships, fostering hopeful narratives, and showing students that their identities are not the sole cause of negative experiences in school, reinforcing the concept that these intellectual abilities are learnable for all.
This shows that if administration and education desire to make changes, they can do so by teaching teachers these valuable and useful techniques. These things can be easily implemented into the school day, and the benefits of them outweigh the cons.